Twinblast is currently in a bit of an awkward place. He's widely understood to be the weakest carry type character for a variety of reasons, but the most painfully obvious one would be his ultimate. You turn your arms into a giant cannon, start smashing people for overall less damage than your normal attacks, which, are faster and safer, because when you pull out this massive cannon, you move slower too. I don't know what the hell's going on with Twinblast's ultimate, but it really needs some love. Most players are actually not picking up his ultimate until level 10 or 11, and even then they might not even pick it up until they're forced to level it next. The only real reason to ever use this ultimate is if the enemy players are all on the same single spot, which is very, very rare, or simply to clear a minion wave. But even though he is the weakest and has this weird ulti right now, I love his auto attack, I love his slow, and I love his escape dash. Even if he is weak compared, he can and does work extremely well when you play him right. So let's do it. Let's start with the build. That's a lot of red, fellas. We have a lot of variety right off the bat. That's because each game should lead you to a different setup. It all depends on what you need in each game. But let's cover the core of the build. We've got rust breakers for damage and physical pen in this tanky meta. We got flash fire pistons for both attack speed and more damage. We got a bit of lifesteal and damage from Brand of the Iron Eater and Touch of Thieves. And we got damage, health, and vision from the Amulet of the Veteran and also the Brawler's Ward. We did also squeeze in some physical protection with the Tempered Plate. Don't forget the starting setup of strike tokens and a health potion. Now, this is not the perfect build, and I'm going to change this eventually. I simply don't have all of the cards I want like many players, and I've got to keep playing and unlocking more. I don't have Guardian's Ward or Sage's Ward, which are pretty much used universally, and I don't have 3 or even 2 strike tokens. So let's cover what to build and what order, and what you can swap in and out if you don't have something, or even have something that I don't. The ideal start is a health potion and 2 strike tokens. This gives you sustain in the lane while giving you that physical damage you really need so that you can actually last it. I don't have the second strike token, so I pop in a scout sword to give me protection from ganks while I'm farming. This does mean last hitting is extra hard for me. I'm praying I get a strike token one of these days. Now you can move into your flash fire piston, giving you easier last hitting potential, or grab a ward quick as you can. If I had a billion minor strikes, I'd put some in the ward. I only have 2, so I leave that empty to sell it later, and before or after you grab the piston or the ward, whichever one you didn't get first. Now we can back that up with some real damage from a rust breaker that's filled with damage and a bit of pen. Now if I had more minor upgrade cards, I'd get another cheap flash fire piston, but life is cruel, so I follow up with a flash fire piston that's got much more expensive upgrades. At this point, you should consider your situation. You might need health, or maybe you need physical armor, or maybe you need energy armor. It really depends. Maybe you're doing great and you want more damage. I usually last hit pretty well, so I get more damage. That comes in the form of another rust breaker with more damage and pen. We're gonna have to sell our strike token to make space for this. From here, you consider what you need. In this case, armor was a good idea, so I get my plate going, but I could have got some HP, or maybe more damage and attack speed instead. It really depends. Now I'm gonna sell my empty ward, and of course that cheap, weaker flash fire piston I bought earlier, so I can make space for my wind carver blade that has damage and attack speed, which then gave me the perfect spot for my 6 cost lifesteal card, Brand of the Iron Eater. A bit of lifesteal can make the key difference. As you can see, the build can change, and I'm considering taking out that amulet to get an attuned barrier so that I can actually counter energy damage or physical damage if there's tons of either. It's best to be able to adapt and change your builds in and out of game to suit the current meta or what you're facing in that specific round. If you're struggling to have cards like rust breakers and flash fire pistons, then you can just replace them with an adamant edge or a wind carver blade. You're going to have to rework the math, of course, with your upgrades, so you end up with a 60-60 deck, but it's entirely possible and not necessarily worse at all. Let's show the build in action, shall we? As I mentioned, my starting items are the HP pot, the Scout's Ward, and the Strike token. I really wish I had that second Strike token to use here, but the Ward will come in handy as carries like Twinblast should try to be in the solo lane where you can get the most farm. In lane, the Ward is set up somewhere a melee won't be able to hit it, and it's my target to keep it safe as long as I can before I get my stealth wards that are going to be much harder to get rid of. The wards are really important because it's going to show me if an enemy's near the area or ganking me, which gives me that slight increase of reaction time to escape a deadly situation. I grab my dash first so I can escape or chase if I'm ganked, but you can easily argue that the grenade is a good first choice if you find yourself in an early fight. It's good AoE damage and has a powerful slow, but like your build, your first skill point should change depending on the game. But yes, usually you will get your dash to be safest. This is a bit of a weird and different game. We had a Murdoch in the solo lane, so I ended up in the duo lane, but we did have a 2 jungler setup, which meant I was actually solo in this lane. Hilariously, Unfortunately, I also find myself facing off against a Sparrow who is in the exact same rare situation. Like, what are the chances of that? Either way, this is ideal, and I get my 1v1 solo lane situation to farm in. Now, as a carry, you want to play close to your tower, getting as much last hits as possible. Your goal is to get as many as you can over the entire game, but every single last hit early game means so much more because you're weak at this point, and even more so on Twin Blast, so you got to get stronger faster. We should talk about controlling a lane. This applies to every lane and not just carries, but simply put, it's better to have the minions fighting each other closer to your tower. This is the case because if you're ganked, you have a smaller distance to run to the safety of your tower. How you do this can vary, but the core of it is simple. Only last hit minions so you can get the most card XP possible. Don't actually be attacking them unless it's the last hit. This causes your lane not to push. You can pray your enemy are attacking more often than just last hitting, which will then push the lane towards your tower and result in your safety. Or you can purposely mess with them by trying to bait them into attacking you. That'll cause your minions to attack them while their minions continue to hit yours, which once again will push the lane to your side. Do note, you'll want to try to stop the enemy minions from pushing too hard. If they run under your tower, it's going to reset the lane, maybe even in favor of the enemy, so you have to tank them every now and then, or you might have to shoot them a bunch to kill them before they reach your tower. That's an option, but try your best to keep the lane just in front of your tower where it's safe. Even though I was playing it safe and had outplayed the Sparrow on both last hits and the location of the minions, Grux comes in for a gank and it succeeds. This is entirely my own fault. I thought I'd pissed off the Sparrow with my last hitting and being generally much safer than her, that she tried to fight me, because generally Sparrow's stronger than Twin Blast at this stage of the game. And I had my ward to protect me and I hadn't seen anyone, so I didn't think the Grux was coming. But no, he was, and I got caught out. I should have avoided this. But who cares? I'm out farming the enemy carry. I'll use this chance to buy my ward now that I'm back at base so I can avoid this happening again. I'll collect the harvester and get back to business, getting as many last hits as I can. It's important not to lose your mind or your cool if you make a mistake or get caught out. Deaths early game aren't anywhere near as impactful or relevant as a death late game. So keep your cool and keep farming. You can die a lot and still be out farming the enemy, and while they're ganking you tons, the enemies aren't in their own lanes, which means your allies are getting more farm and of course can even kill the towers. Never get mad when the game is still in its early stage. You can always recover. Now for my abilities, I try to get all 3 at level 3, and then I focus on Nitro as much as possible. I get Grenade when I can't get Nitro, and yes, I ignore the ultimate until level 10. At level 10, I grab it, and then grab it again at level 11. At that point, it's strong enough to be used to clear a wave very quickly and effectively if I want to. After that, it's just about finishing off the dash and the 3rd level of the ultimate when I can. Here's a quick reminder about building your cards. Make sure during the whole game you're checking what the enemy are building. If they're pushing a lot of physical armor, you might need to ignore the normal build and get your physical pen cards faster. Or maybe you just happen to be against 4 physical enemies for some reason, which means you should grab your tempered plate a lot sooner. So always be checking, and try to mix up your build to suit the situation you're in. Oh, and don't forget, if you find your lanes pushed up to the enemy tower and it's not safe to keep farming, hop in the jungle for a while and kill some whites every now and then. It gives your lane time to push back to your tower, and you can keep farming as fast as possible while that's going on. Remember to consider red buff and black buff whenever you can. They give good XP and the buffs are extremely useful and very important. Those are kind of all the major points I wanted to put across, so let's start enjoying the main parts of the match. Sparrow comes in for a 1v1 gank from the harvester, which was a very good positional attack. I'm not even phased by it. I just dash away, put a slowdown and just outrange her and get away from her. She's much stronger than me when she's using her ult, especially early in this stage of the game. So it's simply a fight. I just know I won't win, so I get away from it. I also did leap over a Murdoch ult. The enemy team are obviously on comms and playing very well together, so it's something I need to be hyper aware of. If an enemy's attacking me, they're doing it for a reason. That isn't just, oh hey, there's a guy I can kill. They have a plan. But so do we, and it's finally my turn to collapse on Sparrow with my own gank. Murdoch was there with his sick ult, thank God, and we did pick up a very easy kill on the Sparrow. And it was all thanks to me just being patient, cautious, and aware of the enemy team and how they're playing. And of course, I would have never escaped the Sparrow had I not been right next to my tower, thanks to the wave being controlled in the way that I controlled it. And this is a good opportunity to talk about something I see a lot of players do, or rather, they don't do. When you win a fight, you need to take a victory, and that victory must come in some form, whether it's killing a tower, getting a buff, doing some sort of objective, making a gank, or maybe buying an item that's crucial, you know, using the opportunity to destroy a harvester or place your own harvesters, getting a key ward in the enemy jungle. There are loads of different things you can do. But what I see most players do is just sort of back up, continue farming like normal, maybe go home and buy something, whatever, right? It's not going to do the job. It's not going to win you the game. So we make this crucial kill, and actually Arctic was playing this, the man himself. He came in on Greystone, having seen we just took the kill, and knew, just like a good player, to actually take an objective and do something with our kill. We just got rid of everyone in this lane. The tower is defenseless, and we're going to push it early game, do some damage, and take a tier 1 because of this a lot sooner. Now, we do get pushed away, sure, but we did some great damage, and we're going to get that tower a lot sooner because of that. We could have easily just left and recalled and not done anything, which is why games last so long, because players aren't doing these things. Back in the left lane, we see that Sparrow's still pushing up, still doing the same thing she's been doing the whole game, and she is going to get punished for it for a second time. I see Rampagers coming up behind us, so I just start initiating. We pop everything, just start going for her. She sidesteps my slow, gets a rock in the face for her efforts. I put out a lot of damage. I just so happened to sidestep that Grux pull. It was very good, because if I had got pulled by it, I don't know whether I would have died, but I certainly would have been in a pretty horrible situation. I'm almost there in the next level of car points, so we're going to quickly get a couple of last hits and keep pushing the lane. And I do notice that my ward has failed me, so it's time to put another one down here in the shadow plane. That reveals a ward, and I know I need to get rid of it. If I'm going to stay in this lane, be successful, I can't let them have a ward here. I can't let them get rid of my ward, so I wait for the right opportunity and we get rid of that ward. Then, after a few moments, we see that Arctic has come back here on Greystone. We're going for that tower. He goes straight for that tower. We are killing this tower. They're defending it. We're putting everything into it. We do just barely get the tower. I just barely missed my slow. Dodge the jump from the enemy Greystone. Back away from the Sparrow ult. I really need to just keep zoning her away. Murdoch tries to ult me and somehow doesn't hurt me. I don't know whether that was mine or his. I place the slow. It doesn't slow him. I die. There's actually a moment there where I missed a slow at the start of the fight, and I reckon if I hit that, I probably would have escaped that situation. Just barely. It was really close, but irrelevant. We got that tower and it was worth it. Now we're in mid after I've respawned and there's a big fight going on. We're trying to push this tier 1. I snag a couple of hits on this Sparrow. Rampage just misses the rock. I'm trying to get her. She's just out of range. She gets away. We're going to finish off the tower. Tower goes down. Murdoch ults. They're so low. I've dashed forward to try and catch up. We're just out of range of hitting this Grux. We got a Rampage stun going in. Grux pulls them in. I hit the stunned Grux. We kill him. Feels good. And we back out of that situation. Now we're in right lane and we're pushing. We're just farming. We've got to keep pushing. You see, we got tier 1 in mid, we got tier 2 on left, so it's time for us to get the tier 2 on right, and it's more farm and, you know, good card XP for me. We're pushing and Faye comes to defend it. We've done some great damage. Over 70 to 80% of the health of that tower is now down, so it was still really good for me, even though I didn't get it. And I just barely dashed and avoided a ult there, which was really good. I'm going to back away. I'm going to put down a ward to help the lane, and she comes for me. Now, I think she's going for me because she thinks she can kill me. I reckon I can kill her if I... Yeah, well played by Sparrow and Murdoch. Like I said, they're working really well. We know they're working really well together. I don't know, man. It's kind of hard for me to see that kind of coming. Anyway, we're back in the lane. We go straight back to right. We need to get this tower, and we're warding away this Murdoch by himself towards the Harvester. He reacts really well. His aim is so good here. He nearly gets me. He goes for the ult, and if his ult had gone off there, I reckon he would have hit me. I reckon he would have killed me. Anyway, the fight's going on and there's just everyone here. It's crazy. I'm weighing up the options. I'm still low. I could back out, but I know I can be of a use here. I know I can stay at range, throw down my slow, smash this Greystone for damage while he's not paying attention. We kill him. Then it's next onto the next target, which is Faye. She hits a nice ult and tries to finish me with a nice slow. Barely avoiding the damage, really, from her auto attacks. I back up. Watch this. See that? I don't know whether that would have killed me, but it was really fucking close. Scary close. Faye goes down. Now we've just killed 4 of 5, and I see a Grux, and I see his low. I reckon he's going to try and pull me, so I'm going to fucking go for it. Dodge the pull. Kill the Grux. There we go. That's a 5-man wipe. We lost 1 person. We killed all 5 of them. We're getting this tier 1. And of course, just like I mentioned earlier, you need to take what advantages you can. I know we're all hurt. I know it's dangerous to push, but they're all dead. Even if one of them was alive, we could still push. We're going to get this tier 2 as well. You need to take objectives. If you win a fight, a big fight like that as well, you have to actually do something with it. If it's getting a buff, if it's being, I don't know, setting wards up, if it's, I don't know, setting up a harvester or killing a harvester, like I said, whatever it is, you have to do something with your wins, with your team fights. If you do nothing after you win a team fight, you're never going to win the game. Anyway, we just see Murdoch gets caught out by a Grux pull from around the corner. It was really nice by that Grux. And I reckon we can do this. It's me and Murdoch. We've got great damage between us. He's used his pull, so he's kind of defensive and can't do much. He did some good dodging there, but we do get him. Next, it's Greystone against Rampage, and I'm just stood there shooting him. Murdoch awkwardly blocks me here. You see that? And then we get caught by the F.O.O.L. It's very unfortunate. I just immediately swap target. Faye kills Murdoch. I kill Faye pretty easy. Not missing a single shot feels good, man. I'm slowed as hell, so we're going to sort of weigh up our options here, see if it's worth going back in. Looks like it's a good time to go back in. I'm moving forward. I'd love to dash here, but unfortunately the dash doesn't go very far because I'm going up terrain. Irrelevant of me, someone dies, and then we see a Murdoch's out of position. Murdoch reacts really well here and just immediately ults, nearly killing Greystone, nearly killing me. Again, the enemies I'm playing against are phenomenal. And this Murdoch, his aim, his actions, his reactions are so good. Now, this is much later in the game, as you can see. We've had a few fights going on. It's happened, you know, whatever. We bounced off each other. What they seem to be doing right now is turtling. They're hiding behind their inhibs. They're never pushing out. They're playing very carefully, very safe, and it's taking us forever to do anything. So I finally make the call. We need Prime to win. If they're going to be fighting on their turf, we can't do it without Prime. So that's exactly what we do. We all head over to Prime. They head over to Prime. I see Sparrow's not in travel form, and I immediately capitalize on it. Hitting the slow, hitting some good auto attacks. I dash away to avoid the Grux pull. Don't get hit. We do kill the Sparrow there, which was very lucky. I only got a low and then stopped attacking us, so someone else got her. I think it was the Rampage with the rock. Then it's just a quick chase. Gotta catch them. Gotta catch them. They're gonna get away. Are we gonna get them? Yes, we catch up, start hitting someone. We get rid of the Fae, and I keep going. But then it's time to back up. It's time for us to get Orb. I'm start typing about Orb and I get pulled by Grux. They re-engage on us. Wasn't expecting that at all. And look how low that guy is, man. Look how low Grux is. I'm just trying to get him. But I know if I go around that corner to get the Grux, I'll die to these two. So I back up and try and just get out of this situation. If I survive, if we get out of this fight, we can take Prime and win. And that's why they actually went on us. They knew we were going to go do Prime because we were just over there and they tried to stop us. It actually caught me completely off guard, that Grux pull, when I was typing. But finally, we get Orb. I say, why don't we get black buff? Why don't I get red buff? Why don't we take Orb Prime left and push up to the left inhib? We have this big team fight doing exactly that. The communication's really good between this team. I got some really nice players, some very... Ooh, watch that Grux ball. I got some really good players and they're really good reactions. We managed to quickly snag that kill on the Sparrow, no problem. We're hurting this Grux really bad. I'm being shot by a Murdoch, so I start sidestepping, dodging his shot that would have killed me. Then we kill him. I'm going to get away, but no, the Fae reacts really well. Turns, catches me, kills me. Very sad. I'm very upset about that. But really good reactions by Fae. Again, the people I'm playing with, phenomenal. They reacted to what I said. They worked well together. Awesome. Then the enemy team, especially that Murdoch and this Fae, damn dude, they were some really good players. And I really respect these people that we went against. It was a really good, tough, fun game against good players with good players. But yes, we then just go straight in on the core after taking the inhib with the black buff and the prime buff. And it's very easy at that point to just win the game and kill the core. Guys, the guides are back and we got more coming. I'm also doing discussion videos like the Sparrow video that I did, but also probably more serious ones, like a talk on Chimera and how he's so impactful and picked so often and why. And I've got tons I want to show you and do with Paragon, so for you big Paragon fans, I can happily say it's back. If you can't wait for more guides from me, then check out RGSACE'S and also Gamers Fitness Group YouTube channels. They both do lots of Paragon content, but they're also making great guides and really took up the mantle while I stopped making mine. They both deserve some love, so go check them out. I'd also love for you to check out the Reborn website. It's run by pro Paragon players and it's very new, who make extremely well made guides and builds. These guys will make you better players, so if you're interested at all by any of that, then have a look in the description. All of the links are right there for you to click. We have a great community here in Paragon, so get involved. And finally, I'm streaming Paragon regularly, so if you want to see full games and chat with me about whatever you want, just come join the streams. I'd love to have you there. But that's all for now. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.